approximately 1 in 5 women.
1 out of every 5 women.
1 in 5 women are victims of assaults while at college.
More than 1 in 4 undergraduate women.
1 in 4 female undergrad students.
1 in 4 young women is assaulted, and society still asks, what was she wearing?
1 in 5 people are gonna get attacked by this bear!
Now, I know the 1 in 5 business is old news at this point, and I wasn't going to spend time retreading old ground with my YouTube channel, at least not without a good reason to do so. But when I heard Russian Deadpool of the Skeptic Feminists say,
but it is just something that we constantly see, like there is no rape epidemic on campus, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then they bring up the 1 in 5 statistic. They have a lot of problem with it. They're like, oh, it wasn't meant to be used this way, and it's a false study and everything like that. Once again, we've of course debunked their claims there as well, with some very specific links, sources citing our evidence, and once again they just kind of disappear into the mist, only to reappear in a different thread talking about the same thing, as if nothing ever got proven to them.
I think I was given a pretty good reason. I can't understand why TSF believes in the 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 statistic, despite all the evidence that's been provided to debunk them. But it did get me thinking. If TSF has seen other videos trying to debunk the claim, what could I add to the conversation that they haven't seen before? Well, other anti-feminists have been going about this in the wrong way entirely. Most people try to start from the position that the statistics are wrong, then try to prove it from there. The problem with this is that it's a claim that most YouTubers can't directly prove, at least not without conducting a new survey with all flaws corrected at all universities that took part, in person instead of online, without financial incentives, and you would have to have a higher response rate on top of that. It would take several $100,000 just to get started. So if we can't start from the position that the studies are wrong, let's assume that the studies are correct. Then we can see if they hold up against other information we have in the real world. Let's start with the origin of the 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 statistics. They were reported on studies from the Association of American Universities and the Campus Sexual Assault Study. For this video, we need the exact numbers reported, rather than the approximations that have become buzzwords. The CSA study states that the percentage of undergraduate women who report being a victim of attempted or completed sexual assault since entering college comes out to 19%, just 1 percentage point away from the 1 in 5 number that gets thrown around. For the AAU study, they give us quite a few tables with varying percentages, and some include things that aren't considered to be sexual assault, such as failure to receive affirmative consent and coercion. So how do we know which number to use?
If you're looking at women whose report showed they had experienced something deemed a criminal act and none of the extra stuff, this table shows it, 27.2%, which by the way is more than 1 in 5. In fact, it's slightly more than 1 in 4, without expanding the definition.
Okay, that was easy. So another piece of information we need to pick up is the period of time that the data applies to. As we saw earlier, the CSA study specifically looks at undergraduate women, and the table we looked at for the AAU study looks at the percentage of seniors, a phrase usually used to refer to undergraduate students in the last year of their degree. So for both of our studies, we can presume that the period in question is 4 years. Now, we want to know how these statistics compare to what we know about the real world. Usually when you receive a percentage, it's over a period of 1 year, not 4 years. So before we can do anything else with these numbers, we need to fit them down to a period of 1 year. We know the chances that a woman in college will be the victim of sexual assault, 19% and 27.2% for each study, which I need to show as decimals from this point forward. But to figure out how this relates to a 1 year period, we need to know the chances that it won't happen. This part is easy. We can show this mathematically as 1 minus our numbers. Next, we need to work backwards and scale this down to 1 year. We can do this by taking the root of our equation and setting the degree to our period of time, which is going to be 4 years. Now, this gives us the chance that a woman will not be sexually assaulted in a single year. But what we're looking for is the opposite of that. So just like we did earlier, we'll take the number out of 1, and this gives us our final numbers. 5.13 for the CSA study, and 7.63 for the AAU study. Jesus, these numbers are massive. To put these into perspective, the CSA study suggests that nearly 1 in 20 women on college campuses will experience sexual assault in 1 year. And the AAU study blows that out of the water with a whopping 1 in 13. Now, you might be thinking, holy hell, 1 in 13 women are sexually assaulted on college campuses every year? Yeah, these numbers are high. They're so high, in fact, that the AAU study has a sexual assault rate higher than the 2012 violent crime, murder, robbery, aggravated assault, property crime, burglary, larceny, and motor vehicle theft rates combined. This can't possibly be true, can it? I mean, the implications of this are... Yeah, alright, listen and believe. Well, the point of this video is to compare the numbers to the real world. So for this next part, I'm going to ask you to join me on a trip to Africa, specifically the Democratic Republic of Congo. Since 1996, the country's northeast region has been in seemingly endless conflict. Millions of lives have been lost. Human rights violations aren't just common, they are systematically used by militant groups. Civilians are brutally slaughtered and even burned alive. Groups employ child soldiers, and more to the point of this video, sexual assault is utilized as a tactic of war. In 2010, the American Medical Association conducted a study on sexual assault in the Congo. This study used methods very similar to both the CSA and AAU studies, the only difference being that respondents were interviewed in person rather than through an online survey for obvious reasons. This study looked at the northeast region of the Congo, specifically Oriental, North Kivu, and South Kivu. With a response rate of 98.9%, they found that 39.7% of women will experience sexual assault in their lifetime. To put this into perspective, that's just 0.3% away from 2 in 5. These are unprecedented rates of sexual assault, and the ultimate reason why the Democratic Republic of Congo is known as the rape capital of the world. A 16-year-old boy who had been part of a militia for 2 years said, and I quote, "If we see girls, it's our right. We can violate them." It's been said that the Congo is the most dangerous place in the world to be a woman, and with figures like this, it's pretty much impossible to disagree with it. I mean, if 2 in 5 women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime? Wait a minute, that's barely under twice what the AAU estimated for college campuses. And on top of that, this is a lifetime estimate. The CSA and AAU estimates were only for 4 years. This can't possibly be true, can't... Christ, Anita, fine. Okay, I'm jumping the gun here just a little bit. I mean, statistics are tricky. Before I make any more conclusions, let's break this down and compare them over the same period of time. So, just like before, we know our rate, 39.7, and we know that this applies to a woman's lifetime in the Congo. For this, let's use the average life expectancy for females in the Congo, which is 49.62 years. So, all we need to do is plug in both numbers, and the chance for a woman to be sexually assaulted in the Congo in a year comes out to 1.01%? Okay, this can't be right. Let's try these numbers one more time. I'll tell you what, I'll break out Old Faithful. Let's see here. 1 minus math 5, 49.62. Let's go over here. 1 minus 0.397, and these numbers, what? How can college campuses have 5 to 7 times as much sexual assault as the Congo? And if you use the US life expectancy, you get 98.42% for the CSA study and 99.81% for the AAU study. But the Congo only makes up to 55.19%. Oh my god, when did I become such a fucking nerd? Oh. These numbers are wrong, these studies are wrong, I don't know what to trust anymore. The National Crime Victimization Survey. These numbers seem like they make way more sense. 6.1 per thousand for students and 7.6 per thousand for non-students. Let's take both of these numbers and get an annual percentage. The period here is 18 years, from 1995 to 2013. And our numbers are 6.1 over 1,000 and 7.6 over 1,000. This gives us an annual chance of 0.034% for students and 0.042 for non-students. How did the CSA and AAU studies find 150 and 224 times more sexual assault respectively? On top of that, do you remember the crime stats I showed earlier? Those are from the FBI's crime statistics from 1993 to 2012. It counts all crimes reported to the police and gives totals relative to the US population. When I gave the percentages earlier, I added all the rates for 2012 except for one, the forcible rape rate. For 2012, this was reported at a rate of 26.9 per 100,000. And do you want to know something interesting about that? It gives us an annual percentage of 0.0269%. This is close enough to the numbers to possibly account for all the instances of rape recorded in the NCVS. In fact, if either the CSA or AAU studies were anything close to accurate, it would mean that 99% of rapes go unreported. Even RAINN Statistics, as flawed as they are, don't make the claim that more than 66% go unreported. Okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm fucking done. These studies have been debunked before, and hopefully this will be the last time. If hard numbers aren't enough to convince people who still believe in the 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 statistics, I don't think anything will. And even if you think my math is wrong, 19 and 27.2% in 4 years is always going to be drastically higher than 39.7% over 50 years. So if you still believe in these numbers, admit right now in my comment section that you think there is way more sexual assault on college campuses in the United States than there is in the entire Democratic Republic of Congo.